the stage with our little engine where we can now put the cylinder head on. Now, if you've cleaned all this surface before, take time and do it again. You can't do too much cleaning on your tractor. Now, get your gasket out and you'll see the two slots down this side of your engine block, and the gasket goes this way. Now have a look, take time, have a look. There's a little hole at the front here, there's a little hole there. Make sure that everything lines up. Check your holes, check that there's not a hole on the block that's getting blocked by your head gasket. The head gasket will only go one way. And get everything working that needs to be right. On this 3-cylinder Perkins we actually have external oil lines, so on some other engines we do, they do have an internal oil gallery. Now a copper gasket, it's up to you whether you put anything on them. They have like a little lacquery sort of thing on them that's supposed to seal. I often use Hylamar. That's a gasket jointing compound, and sometimes I just run some down this edge because that's where all the tappets are, and even though they have bolts, they're quite widely spaced. It's one of those things people carry on about it. If it doesn't do any good, will it do any harm putting a bit of aviation? I've used aviation cement. On the John Deere tractors, they have an internal oil gallery up the back here, and they're renowned as the tractors get older of that getting hard and leaking out the back. Now, by putting a bit of aviation cement around that on both sides of the gasket, it's a mono-torque gasket, not a copper gasket, you can get rid of that leak altogether. So whether you do it or not is up to you. I do use it, but yeah, people will argue all day long about you should, you shouldn't and all that, so do whatever you feel like doing. So down this side here, that's probably a bit thick really, but anyway, doesn't matter. I'll thin it out with my fingers. So that looks after this side down here that can leak. Now there's another little hole here around the front. I usually try and do around there. But look, if you want to do the whole gasket, it just doesn't matter. I might run right around the edges just for good measure myself. Copper head gaskets we retension. You can buy a spray Hylamar, which is, look, I think it's a bit better than this. The reason I'm using this is we had this tube on the shelf at work and it started leaking, it was going off. So that's what we have. So around the holes from the head gasket to the cooling, the water jackets. Well look, it's up to you, don't get too worried. A little bit of Hylamar, don't use silicon, don't use Loctite 515, but something nice and thin is certainly worth doing. Stick my finger in the hole and get all the bits and pieces of Hylamar. Now you can hear the shed creaking a little bit. So this is probably not normally how I do it. Normally I just put a light spray of Hylamar across everything. Okay, so now we know our gasket's on the right way. I've sealed up a couple of little places that I wanted to. We can drop that head gasket right down into its final position. They get caught on the thread, so you just need to be careful. Try and keep it level as it goes down. Wipe my hands. Now make sure the cylinder head is clean. And then we bring the cylinder head down. And we take a moment to get the microphone cord out of the way. That should bump down. There we go. Everything's good. We have protrusion from all the bolts where they should be. I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more on that one. But I think I remember that one from being low. That one's okay too. Okay, all we do from here is I'll go and wash the nuts up. We oil the nuts, we bring them down, and we just bring them down to a firm, I've probably got them washed up actually. We just bring it out to a firm tension with our ratchet, and then we start tensioning. So hang on a sec, I'll unplug my mic, I'll just walk off and get my bolts. Okay, I did have it washed up, but now what I like to do is just get all the, just run a bit of oil around each one. And we start running bolts down. Now there's a little mark on one and a flat side on the other. It's a flat side that goes down. If you've cleaned your bolts properly, have a look too. That one's got paint on it, so that's obviously an outside one, so you can just sit there loosely for the moment. There's no use putting the bolts that have paint on them inside to flake the paint off later. Painted one. I buffed all the head studs up and all that sort of thing, so we know there's no problems there. And there we go. Now, one of you mentioned the other day, didn't I have a speed brace at the bottom of the toolbox? Guess what? I did. One of those tools you forget about. That socket's got a bit of stuff we don't want there. Now just try and do them up even, start in the middle and work your way out, just do a ever increasing circle. And you'll notice as you start clamping the outside down, if you come and revisit some of the internal ones, they come down a little bit more. So now just put even pressure. Okay, off to get the tension wrench. You might put an extension on there. Okay, and then the tension is 70 foot-pounds for the head. So we start off, on this one we'll probably start at about Where's our foot-pound scale? Yeah, there's a 30 there, that would be fine. Better put my microphone back on, or you won't be able to hear a bloody word I'm saying. Now when you pull the tension wrench, don't jerk it, just pull it gently. By starting in the middle, I suppose everyone knows, if you do or you don't. By starting in the middle and working your way out, yeah, making sure the head's getting flattened out towards the outside as you go. We've done that one, yep. Now some of these in the middle, that's the difference pulling the whole head down. The whole head's come down. So that's the exact same setting. So that's how much it compresses once you get a little bit, yeah, I think I'm right with that one, yep. So the exact same setting, they all come down a little. So how's that? Okay, we'll let that sit for a bit, we'll come back and retension. So now we've done the 30, we might just go to 50. Where's 50? There it is there. We'll run through once more, same thing. Don't rush it, no need to rush. Let's do this fella. Nice and gentle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll do this way. Actually, doing your circle, it doesn't matter if you just start here and you work out. It's just, the whole thing's about just doing it nice and evenly. The manuals do bring out correct tension diagrams, as in which way to go, but the idea is to work from the middle out. Now and then I get muddled up with which ones I'm doing, but that's alright. You soon know. And always pull the tension wrench. Well, if you can. Bit of creaking on the roof there. Okay, now we can go up to the 70 foot-pounds. I should have it there. An exact same procedure. That one I might look at, I think. I've done this one. So we can come to this one. That one's not feeling good. I might back that off and have a bit of a look. Okay, now the idea, I do have to revisit this one. That felt like it was just pulling a little bit. And look, that's no real worry. Now an interesting exercise is to back them off one at a time. And you will be surprised how they come up. Now, and for the exercise, if you put a little paint pen mark on one of the bolts and back it off, and look, when we retension the head later on, we'll run the engine, then we'll retension the head. That's when I'll back each one off and bring them down again. And if you put a little paint pen mark on the nuts and see where you are, you actually end up in a tighter position, in a better position. So anyway, that's tightening the head down. I have to look at this. I think I've got a nut that's on its way out, so that's okay. We can work with that. And I need to put some injector studs in and things like that. Now the rocker gear, I have the rocker gear here all ready to rock and roll. Oh, where's my little oil hole? Little oil holes are there. So it goes like this. But I can't do that until I find some bolts for the rocker gear now. So for the moment, on the cylinder head, that's probably all we can do until I sort a couple of hardened bolts for here. Yeah, I might get a few. I might get a full set in case the other tractor needs some too. So there you go. That's the cylinder head is fitted. We can start now bolting the thermostat housing on, the inlet manifold on, the back plate on, manifolds and things like that. So we'll poke along with that and yeah, stay tuned. We'll see what we can get up to.